Hi friends, this is Joe. Outside episode today. It's not bad. It's actually a little bit above freezing today, which is nice. And this is a mini episode because when I did the FUDGE review last episode, I left out BJ Boyd's review. Everyone had done their review and they had sent it in, and I gathered them all together. BJ was the only one to send it through the voice line, and I was like, I don't need to copy that because that will be the place where I go look, because that's the default place. But he was the only one that sent it that way. So when it came time to put the episode together, I had everybody else's, and I'm like, I feel like I'm missing one other. And I looked in all the places except for Google Voice, and wouldn't you know it, I left his out. So let's give a listen to BJ's review.
Hey Joe, this is BJ Boyd of the Arcane Alienist podcast. I want to weigh in on your game review of the month, or whatever we're calling it, with FUDGE. I really like FUDGE. I think if I want to, what I want to say, I mean, there's lots of things to compliment about FUDGE. I remember when you used to be able to, it kind of, has vanished with the way the internet has gone. I think what I used to appreciate about it was how many people you could just go to their, back in the early days of the internet, their little GeoCities sites and personal websites where people would create all kinds of interesting content with FUDGE for just their own fantasy, superhero, military action, spies, whatever. How easy it is to build a game. I think at one point I had made the X-Men using FUDGE way back. I've since lost that file somewhere. But what I appreciate is how Stefan O'Sullivan has always made that approachable. It's the basic form of the game is free to everybody, and the way he writes it, the way he presents it in the book, really kind of teaches you how to build a role-playing game from the ground up. And even if once you learn how to do it there, even if you wanted to switch mechanics away from the FUDGE dice, you kind of see the nuts and bolts of how to build like attributes and skills and traits and things like that, and how they interact in a way. It makes it very modular, and you can make it as simple as complex as you want it to be, or as big as small as you want it to be. So that's the thing I really appreciate about FUDGE. I don't have a lot of criticism about FUDGE. If there's one downside to FUDGE, I think it's just sort of vanished. As I said, it used to be pretty easy when most of the internet was sort of just enthusiasts kind of putting their ideas up on homemade web pages and stuff like that. But I think, Fate, we have that, as a result of FUDGE, but I think that's really, it's almost kind of eclipsed, it's starting to outshine its predecessor. But, FUDGE is really the grandfather or father of the Fate system. I guess if I had a thing I don't like about FUDGE, it's not even a dislike, it's just a wish if it could be different, that it would be a little more in the public eye, or a little bit bigger deal, or a little more one of those go-to systems that when people say, what's your favorite generic system? I wish we could see more FUDGE out there and more people playing this FUDGE and experimenting with it and showing off their different creations that they use again. So anyway, glad you're doing this. Look forward to hearing everybody else's calls, and also what other game you want us to help review next. So talk to you later. Bye.
Hey BJ, so one thing that you said was that you had done like your own X-Men /Marvel thing. And, one of the other callers said that they found a Marvel Heroes build of FUDGE online. And I'm kind of curious if it was yours that they found. That'd be kind of funny. Another thing that you had said was that FUDGE is a good learning experience if you ever thought about designing your own RPG, is to pick up FUDGE and try to do your own build of it. And that is a great idea. In fact, I think I said something like that last episode. Yeah, that really is a good idea. taking those pieces that are already there and trying to put them together in the right way and filling all those missing gaps, all the options, trying to pick which one works and the different feel each one gets, I think is a great experience for learning how to put together an RPG. The last thing that you had said was that Fudge seems to have vanished. At least if you compare it to how it was before. It used to be no matter where you looked online, you could find a Fudge build, and these days it's gone. I think there's a number of reasons for that. One is that in the day, back before 2000 or so, if you wanted a quality open source gaming engine, Fudge was pretty much it. I mean, there were some others out there, but Fudge pretty much was it. Once 2000 comes out, once the OGL comes out, you have that with the D20 system, although you couldn't call it the D20 system. And, you know, having the D&D name behind that, or being the engine that fueled D&D, I think that sucked a lot of fire out of the room. That's a wrong metaphor. Sucked a lot of air out of the room, and all the attention went that way, and people wanted to start using the D20 engine instead. On top of that, I think when Grey Ghost took over, it just looks a little more locked down than it used to be. You know, we were just discussing on the Discord how you can't find that original Fudge license anymore. And if you wanted to do anything under that, you couldn't. And if you look on the Grey Ghost site, it mentions nothing about the Fudge license, only the OGL. And you can't find those text files anymore, at least not through officially. I have found them. I'm going to put them up on my website. I will put up a link somewhere. But all you can find are HTML, which isn't actually too bad, HTML and PDF. So I think that's another reason. And a last reason, I think, is just because it's not the shiny new anymore. You know, it was 1993 when the first version officially came out. And that was 32 years ago. And so it's kind of old in the tooth, you know. If you want that newer Fudge experience, I think a lot of people would go with Fate. But yeah, I agree. Of course, I love old games. I do a lot of them, you know, old D&D I talk about, Tunnels and Trolls I talk about, Original Traveler I talk about. So I'm a fan of the old stuff. I don't think new and shiny is better. I think there are going to be some innovations which go a long way to doing some things. But yeah, so I think all those reasons combined caused Fudge to vanish. Oh, and I think when the mailing list went down, when Carl Craven stopped doing the mailing list, I think the community really had no central point anymore, and several people tried to set up new centers of community, but the problem with having several centers is none of them is the center. And so, yeah, and so the community itself floundered. Like I was saying to Jason, Jason said, you know, that there's a community, but I couldn't find it when I went looking for it before I did the review. You know, I found a Discord. The Discord's just about dead. I mean, there's some conversations there about Fudge, but most of them are like months old, and they're very short. There's an online forum through Grey Ghost Games. There was like a post back in November. You know what I mean? So that one's dead. You know, Grey Ghost has a link to Fudge communities or whatever. There was another one called the Fudge Fountain. That's dead, and that was really just a blog. It wasn't a community. So, yeah, there is no central Fudge community anymore. And in fact, I can't find any Fudge community at all, at least a living, thriving one. So, yeah, I think all these together combine to form the death of Fudge as we know it, which is sad. So that's all I have. Thanks, BJ, for your review. And I'm so sorry that I left it out of the original episode. I hope this makes up for it, and I promise I won't do it again. Thanks again. Everyone else, thanks for listening and or watching. Until next time, happy gaming, happy life. Bye.